Average and Best Cornhole back again, and we're doing another comparison video for you guys today. And we're starting with the Fly Cornhole Surge X, and we have the Cornhole Coastal Icons.
Yeah, we chose these because they both have that Charmin hybrid on it that's, actually gaining some popularity, but you don't see it too much with an ACL stamp.
Right.
These two series do have ACL stamps, so biggest difference between these two bags is the hand feel and the template.
Yep. Speeds on these, and same fast side on both, rated at a 9. Same slow side. Cornhole Coastal rates theirs at a 7, and Fly has it listed at a 6.5 to 7.
It leads us to the template, and like we said, that's the biggest difference. So Fly, the Surge X, is like a medium to large, and it's like a medium thickness in my mind. Yeah. The Icons, they're medium to small template. Now, they do have those real tight corners that make them feel a little bit larger, but they're definitely a lot more fuller than the Surge X are.
Fill and flop on these. As far as the fill, they're both a mixed fill. I can't say that I really notice much of a difference. There might be a variation between the two. One may have more flats than anything.
Now, the Surge X definitely are a little bit more floppier than the Icons are, though.
Yep.
So we're going to tell you something that stood out for each series for us. And the Surge X, I would definitely say, even though it's a faster bag, it does have that, medium fullness. I was able to cut that thing on a dime. I was very surprised at how easy it was to manipulate that as far as laying cuts. The Icon, it's super drippy around the hole, even though, a lot of the time these smaller, fuller template bags, they don't want to drip as much. Right. But this thing, it's like if you get it leaning or you get it near that hole, it's just going to drip.
Well, that's because it's so fast.
It's got to be the material, but maybe since that's floppier and it can move around a little bit, but this is like so full it's going to teeter or whatever, and that's what you see it doing as it's dripping.
Yeah, what stood out to me is they're fast. Like, these are seriously fast bags. So if you're looking for something that's faster than pretty much what everybody else is throwing, these are the bags.
Now we're going to touch on something we didn't like. And as far as like this comparison video, I couldn't really think of something that I didn't like with the Surge X compared to the Icon.
Yeah.
Like the Icon's easy for me. It was the template, that smaller, real tight corners, and the fullness of it. It was hard for me to throw it for some reason.
Yeah, and the way it lands and reacts on the board, it's unique to that bag. All right, before we get into the slide up, again, just kind of to let you guys know, when we do these comparison videos, we're not saying which bag is better than the other or which ones we think is better than the other. We're just trying to compare the two bags that are similar to each other with maybe minute differences. Outside of that, if you guys continue to watch our content, please like and subscribe. We appreciate it very much.
We'll start with the forgiveness in our slide up, and both bags are pretty forgiving. I think the Fly Surge X has a little bit more natural forgiveness to it, but then I was able to cut it easier. The Icon, to me, seemed like it had a little bit more kick to it, and it was harder for me to manipulate.
Yeah, they're forgiving. I found them forgiving for kicks. While we had some, they weren't real bad. But it's hard for me to say these are forgiving bags because how fast they are. If you don't hit your spot, you are off the back of the board. You are not just going to hang one on the back of the board and, get the 1 point or whatever. It just didn't happen. You either slid these in the hole or you were off the board. And for that, it's hard for me to say they are forgiving. But when it comes to if you didn't zoom off the back of the board, neither one of them really did too much unexpected kicks or movement.
Next is whole bodiness, and I was really thinking about this, and I think that the Surge X has a dynamic whole bodiness. Like, it's easier for it to flop over, catch the hole, swing around, and go in. Like, when you're throwing that, you have a better chance of, it dripping. The Icons, though, they have more of a static whole bodiness, if that makes sense. Like, it might get hung up on you or whatever, but it has a way greater chance of it sitting there and dripping down in or something bumping it, just ever so slightly, and then it falling.
Yeah, and as much as I've been complaining about how fast these bags are, you kind of get a little bit of that in return when it comes to whole bodiness. I can't even think of us plugging holes with these. It's almost like you're laying on the fast side. So there's some to where you weren't even really hanging over the board, but just other bags hitting the board, it would just work its way down and fall in. So it's a little bit of give and take with that fast of a material. Collectability on these, and the Surge X for me is probably going to get the nod. It seemed to collect pretty well. No real complaints other than it being a little... Again, going back to the slow side being fast, it's hard to hit that cut shot and grab because the other one would just move. It didn't bite into the board at all. The icons were a little different. It kind of, the template, again, affects its collectability. And those things just always seem to hold their shape for me. So if you're laying on the board and you run into it to try and collect, it just moves out of the way. It doesn't bunch up and grab. It just moves out of the way. So I struggled a little more collecting with the icons than the Surge X. Now, with that said, if you hit your shot dead on, they collected very well.
That's what I experienced. Both of them, obviously, they're going to collect straight on.
Yeah.
I would think the icon with those tight corners that you might be able to use it as a gear and swing around. And then the fly, with you being able to cut it so easily, you should be able to cut in and grab your bag and take it.
Yeah.
But it goes back to that speed.
Yeah.
Both instances, they kind of just brushed off or bumped off and then missed that collect. You didn't have any of the collects off to the side or something that's going to grab it and actually pull it with it. And then our playability on them, both bags for us are hole runners.
Yeah.
I have seen the Facebook videos where people are rolling these icons and doing some things with them. It kind of amazes me. But people are skilled. They can do that stuff. The Surge X, where I think it played well, was it bunched up a little bit and it had that cut. So if there was a mess on the board or whatever, I was confident that I could lay my cut. It would squeeze and get through some stuff and get past it. Now, the icon was a little different. I played that more offensively.
Yeah.
If there was a pile or something on the board, I'm using the mass of it and the fullness and the speed, and I'm just plowing through stuff with it.
Yeah, same goes for me. These are hole runners, really nothing more. The playability for a defensive game is very difficult with these bags, but if you're a straight line shooter, these are great at just running holes.
Yeah, once you figure out that speed, your confidence of that actually going in the hole is going to be high.
Yep.
On to our final thoughts and the cost. It's actually pretty similar. What's surprising about it, though, is the icon is a pro stamp. The Surge X is only a comp stamp. It is a little bit more, $100.
Yeah.
The icons are at $95.99.
All right, overall thoughts on these bags, and these are both great bags. They're very unique with the slow sides that they have on them. Again, for me, overall, they're hole runners and stuff. Now, where these do intrigue me is humid conditions. So when you're outside, if you play into the night and stuff, this is still going to be a pretty quick bag. So when everything else slows down, you're still going to be running holes with this. And I don't think it matters how much humidity is on the board.
Yeah, but they are good for people like us, average thrower, backyard thrower. They're going to be out in the elements, playing in the summer, into the night when the dew starts settling. These bags are going to excel at that, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's all we got today, right, on the Surge X and the Cornhole Coastal Icons. And we're going to leave you with be average at something and be average at cornhole.